Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new episode of our F1 23 Driver Career Mode here on the channel. Hope you're all having a great day. Today we're headed to the Japanese Grand Prix here from Suzuka, fresh off of a double retirement with Red Bull for myself and my teammate of Max Verstappen, which now puts us 2 full races out of the championship picture. And we're running out of time quickly. We have Japan, Qatar, as well as Coda, Bahrain, Abu Dhabi, Saudi Arabia, and Brazil. That's all we have. We've got a lot of stuff to think about as well. We were approached by Justin Marks of Trackhouse Racing in the last episode as he is looking to expand outside of NASCAR. We know they've already expanded into MotoGP. Now they're looking to expand into Formula 1. It sounds like it's basically a done deal as rumors were continuing to circulate this weekend. And now the paddock was starting to get news that Trackhouse Racing is looking to come into the sport. It sounds like a potential announcement could be imminent as soon as next episode. So we're going to have to stay tuned on that one. But as well, it sounds like as a partner, they're bringing Chevrolet on board as well. So a new engine partner coming to Formula 1 if this goes through. There's a lot of things there to pay attention to. And they would be taking over Aston Martin's assets if this happens, as they're looking to sell and get out of the sport. And if you paid attention to the R&D at the beginning of the episode, Aston Martin right now is basically dead even with us, so it's pretty impressive if Trackhouse is going to be able to come in and take over. They're going to be a heck of a team right out of the gate depending on their driver lineup, and of course they're trying to recruit us. We got some time to think about it because we still have not signed an extension with Red Bull. We have only had a 1-year deal with Red Bull, so there is some time to, of course, see things change, but we're not really focused on that quite yet today. We're going to focus in on just the Japanese Grand Prix and, of course, trying to keep ourselves in this championship contention because we had that mechanical failure when we were looking pretty good in Singapore. Now we've got some work to do to keep our chances alive. And, of course, this weekend, it is important to mention that we're also taking a grid penalty, so we are going to be starting a little bit further down the grid, and we have a rough history when it comes to qualifying, of course, so we're probably going to be starting at about 15th, 16th when qualifying is all set and done. But Q1, not a big deal. You see the Aston Martin cars, I was really highlighting them to really show where they are now, 4th and 5th. Zhou Guan Yu, Calimere, Tail Porcher, Devin Butler, JQ's all out in Q number 1. And we roll into Q2, and it's basically such an easy cruise through the first qualifying sessions for Red Bull, Ford, Mercedes, Ferrari, as well as the McLaren and Aston Martin. We cross the stripe in P10. Even on a bad lap, we can still make it in because Lawson, Iwasa, Drugovich, Ocon, Gasly all out in Q2. So I was a bit off all qualifying long, kind of setting the expectation to Q3 was probably going to be P10. Like I said, qualifying, of course, hasn't been our strong suit. I say that we had pole last episode in Singapore, but there was a special set of circumstances with the weather and the track drying and when the other cars were out on the track. But yeah, it's going to be P10. It's pretty straightforward here, and I'm overall ran a very solid first half of a lap here in Q3 and was able to continue a very solid and competitive lap, at least to my standards here in Suzuka. Suzuka's not always been my strongest circuit, but we come through this final chicane, and overall very happy with the lap that I put together, but it doesn't really show that in the time because we're going to go P10. So P10 with a grid penalty, we'll be starting about P15 depending on if other drivers get a penalty as well. Carlos Sainz goes pole over Albon and Jackson in the Ferrari sandwich as LECLERC'S in 4th, Verstappen, Piastri, Russell, Tsunoda, Norris, myself as we get ready to roll on Sunday. We got some work to do. It's going to be a tough day to close in on the points. Let's head to the grid.
We come to you live today from the Mie Prefecture in the south of Japan's Honshu Island for a race that has seen many title deciders over the years. Some simple, some controversial, but all contributing to a legacy that makes the Japanese Grand Prix an indispensable stop in any Formula One season. 18 corners make up a lap of the incredible figure-of-8 Suzuka circuit, with 10 to the right and 8 to the left, for a distance of 3.6 miles. Average lap speeds around here are fairly quick. If it stays dry, then expect somewhere in the region of 136 miles per hour. So with the race not far away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. An immense lap from Carlos Sainz yesterday puts him in pole position, and Alex Albon lines up alongside. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Jackson, Leclerc, Verstappen, Oscar Piastri, Russell, Tsunoda, Norris, Liam Lawson, Iwasa, Drugovic, Ocon, Gasly, Golden Boy, Joe, Mayer, Teo Porcher, Butler and Jake Hughes. With preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track. A warm welcome to Anthony Davidson, who's beside me in the commentary box today. Let's talk about Golden Boy. What do you make of their performance so far this season?
It's been a really solid year so far. There have been some incredible standout performances, but what's really impressed me has been the consistency. With this kind of form, I'm expecting another great race today.
Ready to roll. You saw the grid, so P15, and we're going to be switching it up, not mediums to hards. Hards to mediums, looking for a quicker run at the end of the Grand Prix. We're ready to roll in the Japanese Grand Prix.
So the formation lap gets underway here in Japan. This circuit is one of the favourites amongst the drivers, and I'm sure each and every one of them is looking forward to the race ahead. All of them hoping they can leave Suzuka on a high note. We're almost ready to start the race as the cars take their positions on the grid, with the drivers and teams making their final preparations.
I don't say this often, but get aggressive here.
Sounds good. You know you don't got to tell me twice. Ready to roll then here from Suzuka now, as this is going to be an exciting Grand Prix, watching us, work our way through the grid. But this is an important one because, unfortunately, the McLarens are starting right up front. We had a chance to gain points last episode to really close in, and it didn't happen. It's the story of the season. It kind of feels like we get into striking distance, and then something happens immediately after that pulls us back out of the championship battle. We can't afford that now. We can still fight for a championship, but it needs to be perfect from here. It's going to be lights out. Hold on, there it is. We're racing here from the Japanese Grand Prix. It's a terrible start for Iwasa, and Ocon has to slow up as well, right to the back of the Gasly there. Fortunately, no damage off of that. Into turn one, it's already signs from pole to third. Albon to the lead, Leclerc to second. Jackson remains in fourth position, as it's the Ferrari now. The two Ferraris are in the sandwich instead of the other way around. You see the two Mercedes there right together. Max Verstappen just in front of the Mercedes duo of Norris as well as George Russell. As for us, we didn't really gain a whole lot there going down into turn one. Starting on the hards, of course, harder, quite literally, to get going compared to drivers that might be on the mediums or the softs here. But Alex Albon out in front over Charles Leclerc, and we of course saw Albon, we've talked about it all season long, started up the season so hot, won 3 Grand Prix to kick it off, and then went winless after that. Finally back to the top step of the podium last episode in Singapore. Can he repeat that again here today? Now it would be a good time for Albon to go on a bit of a hot streak, because his teammate, of course, Aiden Jackson, in only his second season of Formula One, has been tearing up the scene in the mid-season. However, we've seen him go through a bit of a downfall a little bit here. He's just been a little bit cooler lately now, but towards the end of lap one, looking for an aggressive move. Mark told us, get aggressive this time. Up the inside of Gasly, still, though, leaving him the room that he is deserving of. As we know, it is not my corner. This is a professional motorsport, and I swear I say it every chance I get, but I think the whole my corner argument is one of the dumbest things in racing. But we continue on now to look for already some points on just lap 2, right to the back of Liam Lawson there in the Alfa Romeo Haas up the inside. Can we get the job done? Yes, we can. Through this left-hander, we'll clear him, and we'll take the position from the Australian. Hold on, he tries to fight back, but not quite enough there. So up into P10, and now you can see everybody in front of us. Sonoda, Norris, they're on mediums and soft, so they're on a quicker compound tire, so they theoretically should be able to pull away at this point in the Grand Prix. Fortunately, though, everyone's kind of on top of each other, stacked up together, so there's, not a lot of freedom to really open up the car and open up the potential of the pace in it, I should say. So that's actually, instead, it's allowing me to close in on these guys, and you can see Sonoda only 1.5 seconds up the road, and that gap continues to close. And as you can see, just through one chicane here towards the end of the lap, another 10 to 2/10 of a second just about gained. So we are really closing in on this fight here now, and we're going to be in it within a few laps. Lap 6 at this point now as we come to lap 6.5, you can see that Sonoda's really putting some pressure on Norris. Those softs on Norris's car really aren't lighting up, and it's allowing me to get right up in on this battle, because now we're within DRS range as we approach the 7th lap. So now it's game on. We're about to join the party and trying to work our way through this grid as quickly as we possibly can. So I feel like it took us about 7 laps to get to where we should have been starting this Grand Prix. So we're 7 laps behind. It's kind of the way I'm looking at it right now. So we need to find a way to make up for it. DRS here, lap 8. Tsunoda maybe looking for a move now as we head down towards turn 1. He slows up a little bit early. I react to that. Darrell wasn't close enough to really make a lunge. At least I didn't feel like I could. But look at Norris. He is slipping and sliding around. We have seen that Mercedes slip and slide before at tracks. And look at that big slide right there from Norris. That opens the door wide open. Tsunoda swings to the left here, of course, in his home Grand Prix on the run down towards 130R. He backs out of it. Norris stays ahead, and I had to back out of it as well. And now I'm looking for an opportunity down this front straightaway. Tsunoda looking for a move. Where are we going to go? I'm going to dive up the inside, nearly into the back of Tsunoda right there. I thought that Norris was going to be the one that slams the brakes because they always like to hit the brake pedal really hard into turn 1, but it was Tsunoda instead, and I nearly ended my own race right there. Fortunately, we continue on, and Tsunoda is still putting so much pressure on the back. I'm getting fed up with this. We're coming to lap 10. We should have been clear of this, you know, a couple laps ago. So now putting a bunch of pressure right on the back of Tsunoda. We'll swing to the inside. He can't make a move on Norris. Norris is going to slow up early. We're going to get a 2-for-1 special. We sail it off into turn 1. The job's done. P10 to P8, but the damage as well is done. We have lost quite a bit of time just riding behind those 2 cars for a couple of laps. And if you look at the track map and you of course consider how even, you know, the top 5 teams are right now, we're not going to have a chance to win this Grand Prix without some assistance or even get a podium. If we can get a safety car, I think our chances of a podium are extremely high because we're going to have the softest tire towards the end of this Grand Prix. As you can see, Leclerc now comes in a little bit early, lap 12. He's going to be the first one of anybody. He pits, of course, from second place, going for the undercut on Albon. This might put him out in front here. And we come through to a lap later. Carlos Sainz has now come into the pit lane. And here we go up the inside of George Russell, who we have run down. And I really hope they fix that AI situation in the turn 1 at Suzuka and 130R going into next game because you can just take so much advantage of it. Albon pits now for the hards, and Leclerc is going to be able to pass him. So Charles Leclerc is going to end up being the net leader of this Grand Prix once this pit cycle sorts itself out here now. But a lot of drivers pitting on a lot of different laps. Usually it's, you know, 2-lap span, but this is going to be about a 3 to 4 lap pit window that we're really seeing develop here. About halfway now through this Grand Prix. Our pit window's been open for a lap already, but I didn't want to pit before my teammate who's on a softer compound than me, so I was waiting for that. But Jackson's in, Verstappen as well, Piastri's in, myself and Tsunoda still out on the track here. Look at Leclerc, he's only 5.9 seconds behind by the time we're finally coming in to make our pit stop here on lap 15. So we're going to come in, obviously, like I said, a safety car is the only chance we're going to have to get a podium here today, and I actually have a late turn in there. That caught me off guard. It was really quick, so it's going to be a bit of a slow pit stop as well. That's going to cost us about a second in time as it turns into about a 3-second pit stop here. We'll still be out in front of Yuki Tsunoda. We'll return to the racetrack, but you can see we're behind both Norris and Russell, 2 cars that we already passed, and they are right on top of each other. Norris on mediums. He's going to have a little bit of more of a kind of kick in. That car is going to be way more aggressive on the back of Russell for a few laps, but Russell's going to, of course, have that long-term pace advantage. Leclerc out in front by over a second on Albon here as we are going to come through now, as you can see, just through the double left-hander, how much time we're already gaining. 1.6, 1.5 on Norris. We are going to get close, but we're going to go through the grid before this battle kicks off.
Charles Leclerc out in front, trying to hold off a hard charging Alex Albon. Leclerc has been seeking a win for quite some time here, Martin.
Yeah, he has, and he's going to need to step up the pace if he wants to win today. Albon's catching him quickly and on a harder compound. Alex has really gotten back on form at the right time.
Russell and Norris run 7th and 8th currently. Owen hard charging up to both of them, though, in 9th. Tsunoda currently rounds out the points.
You have to then go back 15 seconds to 11th with Gasly. I really think the sport needs to aim for a reset in every department instead of just a few, to allow the teams far behind a chance to catch up.
And it sounds like we will see no changes going into next season. Drugovich and Lawson 12th and 13th, with Ocon and Iwasa trailing a bit behind.
Pourchaire in dead last again. Unless he picks it up quickly, I think we've seen the end of his Formula One career. He just has never found the pace in that car.
And that is through the grid in Japan.
And there you have through the grid here from Suzuka now. Butler, Pourchaire at the back of the grid, and we have now run down Lando Norris here on the run towards 130R. We are here to be aggressive. We're going to go up the inside now and see if we can pull this off. And we actually got through the grass a little bit, but we get the job done. And we actually set the fastest lap on the same lap there in the process of all that. And now we have run down George Russell within just a few moments' time. Oh my goodness. That was nearly race over. He locked up on the apex and we missed him by a couple of centimeters at the absolute best. I am so thankful that I did not just plow into the back of his car and just tear off my front wing. So we live to see another few laps here now as Leclerc continues to lead, but look at this, Albon's already closed into with a couple tenths of a second. Leclerc's gone around. Charles Leclerc is choked on the medium compound tire. Around he goes all on his own, and he's going to stop right there. This could bring out a safety car. As you can see, by the time I come around, he's right in the middle of the circuit just about, and that is going to bring out a safety car. Safety car deployed here in Suzuka. This is going to change a lot as we are now going to have a new life. P6 on a quicker, softer tire than a few drivers in front of us. Now, during the safety car period, Pierre Gasly as well actually had a mechanical failure just as he was passing the safety car. So from P11, he's going to be out of the Grand Prix. The Frenchman's day comes to an end here, but it's Albon out in front over Sainz, Jackson in third. Of course, right now, we need to try and beat both the McLarens. We need to try and find a way to win this Grand Prix. Quite simple, because we want to, of course, be able to gain points on this championship battle and not go into the next episode, more than 50 points out of this fight. But that's going to be a difficult task because we're only going to have 5 laps and 5 cars to pass and cars that are very quick. So let's get ready to go bank racing here. Albon controls the pace over now. Carlos Sainz, Leclerc's final season with Ferrari just has not gone to plan. Mechanical issues and now self-inflicted errors as well has cost him a few times this season, and we see it again here today. We saw it in Monaco earlier on the season as well. It's just been not a good season for Leclerc, and we still don't know where his future belongs. Red Bull is in talks with him, but we also know Horner is in talks with Felipe Drugovich, who's had a very superb rookie season so far. Nearly into the back of Piastri there into the hairpin. That's the second time we've had a close call with the back of another car, but we're going to be able to go around the outside NASCAR style. But hold on, Piastri, he's going to continue the fight wheel to wheel here on that hard compound tire. Not what we need, but we swing it around the outside. We go wide, having to lift a little bit to make sure I don't get a warning for track limits, and we continue wheel to wheel on the exit of the corner, hard on the gas, but Piastri's got some raw power down the straightaway on the run towards 130R. Russell's closing in on the back of us, but he's got nowhere to go. Who's going to back out of it? It's certainly not going to be me. Piastri doesn't back out of it either. Unbelievable wheel to wheel battle right there, but we still come out ahead and take over the 5th position. Albon's already checked out, long gone. Sainz is holding up himself. Jackson, Verstappen as well, and now I'm right to the back of my teammate Verstappen. I'm not wasting any time, teammate or not. He's not really in the championship fight anymore. We'll go up the inside, we'll take the position up into 4th place. Jackson, Sainz up next, 3 laps to go. We're gonna make this happen. We don't have enough time to go run down Alex Albon, but we can definitely get P2. Now to the left side of Aiden Jackson here, but hold on, he's got that raw power to stay ahead, so we're gonna have to wait. And that would be to the front straightaway we were waiting to when Jackson makes a move with the DRS now on Carlos Sainz. Sainz checks up, so does Jackson. We lunge it up the inside of the Spaniard. We take 3rd place, and now we're gonna have basically 1 or 2 opportunities here to get Jackson, and I'm gonna try and take opportunity 1 right here because you see the slip and slide there from the McLaren, a bit of a slip from me as well, not to the point where it destroys my run down the straightaway. Again, side by side, wheel to wheel. The inside seems to be the preferred lane because the outside does that right there. They back out of it. The inside, they don't really back out of it. So we take P2, coming to the final lap of the Japanese Grand Prix from P15 on the grid to 2nd place as we start the final lap here in Japan. It wouldn't have been a 2nd place effort. It wouldn't have been even a podium effort without that safety car. We would have been a 5th or 6th at the absolute best without the safety car. It just wasn't quite the recovery drive that we were looking for, but the safety car, as it has many times this season, has really played into our benefit. Not quite enough to close in on the championship battle because we're still going to lose points at the end of the day because it's Alex Albon who's back on form, back-to-back wins after Singapore. He wins in Suzuka. The Japanese Grand Prix goes Alex Albon. P2 for us. 3rd place for Aiden Jackson. Verstappen and Sainz round out the rest of the top 5 as the 2 cars on the left speed by. P2 here in Suzuka. It's still a great recovery drive. Driver of the day, rightfully so. Let's head to the podium.
That's it then, for another fantastic Grand Prix here in Japan. A brilliant victory that has thoroughly earned the applause of the sellout crowd here today. Anthony Davidson, how do you think they were able to set themselves apart today?
Well, time management probably played quite a large role in the outcome of this one. As ever, it's not just about speed, it's all about maintaining that speed consistently over a stint, over a race distance. So being able to keep up the lap times while still being smooth on the controls and gentle on the tyres, that's really where the race was won today.
It was a heck of a Grand Prix. We only saw, one bit of actual drama with Leclerc with the self-inflicted incident there, and that, of course, ruined his day. He still got points, I believe, but yeah, it's still just not the day he was, of course, looking for when it was, apparent that he had a car capable of fighting for the victory here today and was leading, of course, while he made that mistake. Absolute crucial mistake. He's actually, P10 is where he ends up there. Drugovich, P11, he has been consistently right in that area all season long, but clearly the best of the rookies this season. But now we take a look at the points, and you can see we're 56 out. Jackson's back by 23. Albon's starting to stretch things out a little bit here in the late season push. I don't like it, and I know Jackson doesn't either. 152 back in the constructors. It's not going to happen now. It's just full focus on the Drivers' Championship, which is starting to get out of touch as well, unless something happens in the next couple of Grand Prix. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.